Solana made 589 tweets. There are some big things going on with the XRP system in Solana that you can't see right away. A bridge is being made that will soon be usable. What does this all mean for people who own XRP? I will explain it in detail. Here is also a chart of $738 for each XRP. Is it possible for this plan to work? What is the meaning of all this? I'm going to make it easier for you to understand. Ralph Paul talks about the idea of having a stockpile of Bitcoin in America. He thinks this isn't a good idea. So we may have to back up the truck here. But let's begin with the most important news. Solana sends 589 tweets. What is the meaning of all this? This suggests that Solana will become a very important new destination for the XRP ledger and RLUSD flows through Axelar. Also, Solana is using the 589 meme to hint that something big is on the way, not just a price call. But what this post is saying is the bank building. Once the last audits are made, XRP's post says that XRP and RLUC will be able to get from the XRP ledger and the XRP ledger EVM to Solana using Axar. Solana's official account then posted 589, which is a long-running ultra-bullish XRP meme that gives a kind of nod to this combination and the XRP community. What this means for Solana: Riplet Tech, RLUSD, and XRP are used for liquidity in addition to DeFi native stablecoins on Solana. This connection can draw new cross-chain users and amounts to Solana's DeFi and payment applications. If current XRP flows really do happen, Solana will be a more trustworthy center for cross-chain FX and remittance-style lines. This will make the story of global payments and high-throughput DeFi that Solana supporters are already excited about even stronger. The implications for XRP are that it and RLUSDC get a new high-performance execution environment that allows money to move from the XRP ledger to Solana DEFI loans and perpetuals. This makes XRP more useful, going beyond just payments or apps that are native to the XRP ledger. In terms of strategy, every production bridge like this one makes the XRP ledger less isolated, which gives XRP and RLUSD access to more places where they can trade, and it can back up a neutral settlement asset story about the audience that matters to them. So this was my post, and I was stressing that Core Solana says something big is on the way. I wanted to play this here now. Here are Anthony Scaramucci and Ralph Paul talking about the US's plan to set up a strategic store of Bitcoin. Let's not waste any time. Trump suggested that the United States should have a national Bitcoin stockpile similar to a backup fund for the cryptocurrency. What do you think about this, and how would it affect the cryptocurrency market? Lucille from Kentucky is speaking. I actually think it's a bit of a red herring because the US dollar is the cash that most people trust. The US doesn't need to store any other valuables. Yes, it has gold, but that was because the country left the gold standard. Other countries need to have savings to back up their own money, so they don't need it. Would they do it now? I think it sounds showy. Why? I'm not sure, but let's say they do. Suppose I'm mistaken and they actually do build something. This is a strange world. On the one hand, it's good for the crypto market because there is another buyer. On the other hand, it's strange because Bitcoin was created to try to take money out of the hands of the government. Yes, now you're putting the government in the mix as one of the biggest buyers of private money. I don't actually like that, but it's probably still a net gain for the price of crypto. If that were true, maybe it would keep private money use away from Bitcoin. If the government can manipulate Bitcoin, they could also buy more of it and then dump it on the market. Before you know it, they would be using it to control regular money like they do with interest rates, and we don't want that. It's very cool. But I feel that you have David Sachs and all of these people who are around Trump and his kids who are pro-Bitcoin. Isn't Trump's family getting into Bitcoin mining and other stuff like that? Anyone who owns Bitcoin would get very rich if the US government bought a lot of it. So passing a bill to that effect would be a good idea. She, her family, and she owned Bitcoin just like Senator Lummis. It would help them right away. I would rather the US government promote American innovation. by XRP, Solana, Chainlink, XLM, and anything else the US is doing right now. Put the $10 trillion or however much you want to spend into American businesses. We should be doing that, not making guesses about Bitcoin. Let me know your thoughts below. Do you believe in this Bitcoin story, or would you rather have something like American innovation instead? Okay, what if the bulls are right? XRP costs $738. What is this thing? The XA account Block Bull's hyper bullish trend analysis of XRP projects a price of about $738 per coin. This chart shows 1 month XRP USD prices. They are forming a multi-year climbing triangle. The price is getting closer to the flat resistance zone above the previous all-time highs, around $4, and the support that has been rising since the lows of 2017. The chart's blue vertical arrow shows the height of the previous explosive move, like the run-up in 2017, and then it copies the height from the current breakout zone. This gives an estimate of a future price goal. This is the standard way to measure moves with triangles, except for commentation patterns. How probable is it? In classic charting, an ascending or symmetrical triangle target is often found by taking the height of the pattern and extending it upward from the breakout point. It looks like that's what Block did here, using a very rare move that led to an extremely high amount in the hundreds of dollars. So here's the chart. I'm just moving it around a bit to use 2017 again. Is it possible for us to get to $738 per token? That would be an amazing Christmas. Jake's guess was pretty close, right? Okay, take a look at that. Okay, XRP gets big signs. First there was Bitcoin, then there was Ethereum, Solana, and now, of course, the king has finally arrived. What things aren't Bitcoin? Is it similar to that? Who makes that choice? It seems like the CME is behind all of this. Maybe CME backs Bitcoin, XRP, and Sol. So how does this work? It goes into Vanguard like this. Yeah, how does that decision-making process work? Actually, yes. My belief is that this system can be used for anything that has an ETF related to it. First, it was just Bitcoin, then it was Bitcoin and ETH, now it's Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol. XRP is beginning to get noticed. What are the valuable items? XRP is beginning to get noticed, 12.3 million at noon. This morning, Canary XRPL is number 1. Here is the total trading amount, so a little lower than what we've normally seen here. 30 minutes in, there were 6.7 million, and then about half a day later, we basically only doubled that. With 3 hours to go, we are at about 14.5 million here on Monday, December 8th. Talks or speculation inflows ranging from 50 million to 150 million. Canary Day 1's ETF to beat is 58 million. So what will happen when Talks R becomes a reality? I think this is a 21 share spot ETF. Will we get between 50 and 150 million? If that happened, it would be really great, and we would satisfy a lot of that need. BlackRock CK filed for a staked ETH ETF, which shows that they are always willing to do what their users want. We hope the XRP ETF gets into the spot really soon. That would be amazing. Think about what kind of present for Christmas that would be. It would be even better to do it on December 20th, since that was the day the Ripple lawsuit was revealed. So I don't really know. I'm only speaking out loud to think about this.